when I rammed head first into a big utility truck during a whiteout storm, and uh, pretty much, changed my life in a lot of ways. I'll tell you that. So I had um, messed up my leg, messed up my eye, messed up my everything, and that's, I mean, seriously, that was in 2010, so 15 years ago. Wow, this thing happened to me, and my life has done nothing but improve since. Well, you can only go up from there, I guess. Uh, anyway, here we are, and we're with this beautiful group, and we are reading uh, a book that I don't have up in the window yet. We are reading Living Untethered by Michael Singer. Let's see if that'll work. The Sharon that. All right. I see we be laughing. I love it. All right. So now we don't have Mickey Singer. I could have had him read this for us, but we're not going to do that. Well, we're going to have ourselves read it. So we're reading Living Untethered by Michael Singer. And it's kind of a add-on to his other two books, The Untethered Soul and uh, The Surrender Experiment. And it's all about how to do it. So every time I say that, this is how we do it. I know that doesn't sound like the song at all because my voice is so awful. But anyways, this is how we do it. And I think people don't really understand a lot that, people say, well, A Course in Miracles doesn't dictate behavior. Well, A Course in Miracles sure as heck tells you what to do. How many times does he say, do this and don't do that? Do not do this and just do this. And we're like, well, what does he want me to do? Well, he just wants you to stop. Anyways, we are do we want to go back a paragraph? Here, I'll just start reading. And if anybody would like to read, please do put your hand up. So we're going to read about the fall. I know we read that last week, but we're going to read it again. So unfortunately, that is not how we live. Something went very wrong. Let's take this fall from the garden in slow motion. First, something comes in. Let's start with the rattlesnake. It's not a particularly comfortable experience. In fact, a hissing rattlesnake is meant to be an uncomfortable experience. It may even generate discomfort at a survival level. That would be a strong inner reaction to the outer experience. But this uncomfortable inner reaction isn't bad per se. It's just a different vibration. Oh, I love this. I remember this and I love this. It's just a different vibration. Just like some colors are soothing and others are harsh. Colors aren't bad or good. They are just different vibration rates of the electromagnetic spectrum. You can learn how to be comfortable with these different vibrations. A rattlesnake is not going to stay there rattling your whole life. It's going to come and it's going to go, and its uncomfortable vibrations are going to go with it. Then something else will happen. You live in a happening place filled with growthful experiences. You are simply in there experiencing creation as it comes in and passes through you. So that's kind of what we were talking about in that last book, is about, I'm just here with all this experience roaming around me. I am not the experience. I am not what's happening. I just happen to be here while all of this is going on. So I can be here and be still, or I can be here and be irritated, afraid of um, the rattlesnake. And I always remember that when Regina's dog, Ellie, got bit by a rattlesnake when she was out walking her. and how crazy that was. Oh my goodness. But she survived. It was really really cool. But we're in Colorado. That's why people wear those big cowboy boots. You're walking around, you come into a snake, you're gonna be wishing you had tall boots. So anyway, so, so you don't practice that level of acceptance, however. You in there who is experiencing what's rendering in your mind, you have the ability to resist what's not comfortable to you. You were given free will. You can use that will like inner hands to push away thoughts and emotions if they don't feel right. Surely you have done that. That resistance is an act of will. Will is an innate power you have. It is actually a power that emanates from consciousness. Just as the sun stays where it is in space, but it emanates rays that have great power, so consciousness remains at its source, but its awareness emanates out onto whatever it focuses on. There is great power when consciousness focuses on something, just as there is great power when the sun's rays are focused through the magnifying glass. You can feel the power of one pointed concentration. It is indeed concentrated consciousness. That is the source of the power of will. So I just want to stop a minute and think about that other quote that we were thinking about from the other book that says, you know, you would be in the midst of all this activity. You may be experiencing all these experiences. All of these things are just happening to you and through you. But you can become the focus of one power concentration at that time. And it is concentrated consciousness. That is the source of the power of will. So that concentrated consciousness is that one moment that we were talking about in the other book, where let me just go back to that real quick and see if this is making any sense to anybody other than me, which, you know, it's not unusual. If you consider quiet, what the heck? If you consider quietude right and activity wrong, then this is seeking the real aspect by destroying the worldly aspect. Seeking nirvana, the peace of extinction apart from birth and death. When you like quiet and hate activity, this is the time to apply effort. Suddenly, when in the midst of activity, you topple the sense of quietude, that power surpasses quietistic meditation by 1,000,000,000,000 times. Da Hui Zongao. So I don't know if that makes that mean have more sense. And I would love to have anybody comment who might be willing to comment. I think he's just basically saying the same thing. When whatever you're in the midst of everything, when your consciousness focuses on something, then that is what makes it 1,000,000,000,000 times stronger, because it becomes the all, it's everything. There's not anything that's not. It's all it. Does that make sense? All right, who else would like to read? So I would love to save my voice a little bit.
I can read.
Please, thank you.
Okay, so you just said you are simply in there experiencing creation as it comes in and passes through you, right? Is that where you were? Or more?
Let's see.
Page. Oh, okay.
The power of will.
Okay.
That is the source of the power of
Thank
will.
you. Thank you. Okay. The power of will plays a very important role in understanding how the mind developed from a place of clarity to one of confusion. You have surely noticed that your awareness does not fall evenly on all objects that render in your mind. You pay attention to some objects more than others. If the vibration of the object was more comfortable or uncomfortable, you either quote unquote liked it or quote unquote didn't like it. This is the foundation of how the personal mind got built, like and dislike. It happens at a very primal level. Basically, it depends on whether you in there have the ability to experience something that comes in without doing anything about it, other than fully experiencing it. This is the ability to allow objects to simply pass through.
So can we just stop a minute there? I'm interested in that because the idea of doing nothing but fully experiencing the experience, that's again what that other quote was talking about, is that when you reject that experience because you don't like it, or you don't think it's spiritual, or you don't think it's going to be helpful, or you don't think that, or whatever your idea, when you're not fully experiencing the experience that's being offered to you, or that the experience that you're that's part of your experience, um when we reject it, then we're fighting it. We're not allowing it to pass through. But when we absolutely experience it and don't reject it, don't run away from it, don't be afraid of it, then uh, then things can just move without my impedance, without me stopping to object. Excuse me. So I think that's, for me, that's really telling. And I think it's part of my uh, own thought and philosophy. That's probably why it appeals to me, is that as long as I don't totally experience the experience I'm here to have, because I came here for an experience, and if I don't completely experience the experience, then I will be back again to try to experience it, because the point of the dream is to experience the dream. And if I'm not doing what it's here for, then I'm rejecting it. If I'm rejecting it, then I have to come back. So I mean, and we do that, and so in our entire lifetime we do it over and over. I'm not talking about you die and come back and die and come back. That is true too. But in your entire lifetime, how many times do you say, oh man, this is deja vu all over again? I'm in this same situation. How did I end up in this same situation again? Oh my goodness, I didn't figure this out, or I didn't figure that out. I picked the wrong guy every single time. I picked a guy that's, not going to pay attention to me, that doesn't care about me, that only wants to watch football. Over and over and over, we do the same mistake until we get it and recognize, oh, if I keep doing this, I'm going to keep getting that. If I keep doing this, I'm going to keep getting that. So let me learn what it is, the lesson that I'm here to learn. And then I won't do it anymore because I'll have done it. It'll be done. When it's done, then everything it just passes through. I mean, I gave up on romantic love, totally gave up on romantic love. Why? Because I realized that in the concept of romantic love, there are so many roles that are being played, and so many false beliefs that are being accepted, ideas that really have no meaning, um, that are being expected. When you go out and try to find a special relationship with somebody, like a romantic love, uh, the world tells you, oh yeah, they have to be, a good provider, or they have to be a good lover, or they have to really care about you and bring you flowers on your birthday, and all of these ideas that we have about, and those are just extreme examples, not that, they'll put the lid back on the toothpaste, or they won't leave their socks in the middle of the bedroom floor, or stuff them under their chair in the living room, or whatever the things that your idea of love would do. That love would put their socks in the hamper. Love would, do this. Love would go out and practice, become a better lover. A lover would want to know what I want. All these ideas, exceptions that we have about things. And then when somebody doesn't live up to it, we become disappointed and angry. And then we reject them, and I mean, it's just a vicious cycle. And I divorced George because he refused to put his socks in the hamper. But then I married Michael, and Michael puts the socks in the hamper, but he never flushes the toilet after he poops. I mean, there's always going to be something that's going to be a point at which I choose to reject. And so, the whole idea of romantic love that comes about because of all these societal rules and mechanisms that we have, all of that is about, all that is about uh, attempts to control, and attempts to, and it's building an artificial world. And now I've come to understand romantic love is an artificial world. And at some point it's going to break. Either it will break to where you're going to just give up and go find somebody else, or it'll break where you just say, I don't care about that stuff anymore. I'll flush the toilet if he doesn't. I'll put his socks in the hamper. I don't care about these things. These things have no meaning to me. And that's where you come into accepting the experience and accepting the other person as they are. And if you do happen to, as I have been with the same person since 1974, you're with this person for years and years and years and years, all the facades fall away. You don't have uh uh any illusions about who they are, or what they want, or what they're up to. You pretty well know. So when there's no more illusions between you, although there really are still a lot that I'm just shocked about sometimes, the things that, my partner will think and say, like, where did you get that idea from? And now I think he's heading into dementia. So he's saying some really weird stuff. I shouldn't be saying that. He's probably watching. Anyways, um, and it's, but I gave up the idea that there's such a thing as romantic love. I'm not going to go around telling my kids, well, romance, you're not going to find it, and because they already figured it out. They already know, what they thought was love turned out to be whatever. And either they chose to overcome that and let it go, or they chose to make it a big deal and leave. And the fact is, when you come to the place where there's no more big deal, there's no big deal. Um, it just is, expectations that we have of something that is not going to happen. It's not going to happen. We are assured that we will be disappointed. So anyway, experiencing the experience is the most important thing, because that's what's going to lead you to the recognition that the experience has no meaning. The experience is just an experience, just a thought, just something that's passing by. Anyway, I'll let you continue reading. Thank you, Otzi. Or if anybody else has anything to say or would like to share, please do.
Thank you, Lynn. I love that. Yeah, the passing through, and it makes me think of how, you know, I don't know why. That's just such a funny. Um uh so when I have an experience, sometimes instead of having thinking happen, there's more of a focus on what's happening in my body. And I often, not I often, but lately I've been feeling more like tingles throughout my body or just something. It's like, I can't really explain it, but it's really very interesting. So yeah, letting it pass through. It almost like goes through, and sometimes I can feel it even going down through the tips of my toes, all the way just through. And then there is no more experience of it, obviously, because it's left this vessel that whatever energy, life energy was flowing. So thank you. Okay, I'll continue reading unless anybody has anything to say, but I'll just wait a moment. I think we're good. Yeah, just interrupt me if not. If an inner experience is not neutral to you, it draws your consciousness to focus on it. The moment that happens, and see, that's it. I just realized if an experience isn't neutral to you, it's not saying if it feels uncomfortable or if it's bad for me. This is every experience, even the exciting, oh, I'm so excited, like both. That is something I really want to emphasize for myself. So if an inner experience is not neutral to you, it draws your consciousness to focus on it. The moment that happens, the things passing through your mind are no longer even. One has stood out from the rest. All it took was for you to focus your consciousness on it. Your consciousness is a force, and you are focusing that force on a particular mental object. When the force of consciousness is focused on a mental object, that object cannot pass through the mind like the other objects. Just as the solar winds interfere with objects passing through space, so focused consciousness is a force that affects objects passing through the mind. Yeah, that's a good visual because it's like the sky or the space, outer space is the screen type thing, and then these objects floating around. The wind is going to interfere with that because those are the objects. That makes sense. But the solar space behind always is that constant, just like the sky is the constant or the screen is the constant. When you focus consciousness on a particular mental form, you impede that form's ability to pass through the mind. The very act of concentrating on it makes it stay in your mind. You know this. When you want to do math in your mind, you concentrate on the numbers so they stay long enough for you to manipulate them. In fact, anytime you want, anytime you want to hold something in your mind, you must focus your consciousness on it so it does not fade away. Concentration of consciousness freezes forms in the mind so that they don't just pass through. Thus, when you saw a rattlesnake, it might as well have been a standalone item in your mind. The truth is, there were trees, grass, sky, and other items rendered in your mind aside from the snake. But you focus your consciousness on the rattlesnake and let the rest pass through. Interestingly, because you focus so much consciousness on it, you froze the experience of the snake in your mind. There was no way you were going to let this uncomfortable experience all the way in. And that is the birth of resistance. Do you know what that means, letting it all the way in? We discussed this earlier regarding the beautiful sunset and the perfect romantic experience. You wanted to fully experience these beautiful moments. So you opened up and let them pass all the way into your being. These are the special moments in your life when something touches you to the core of your being. No way this rattlesnake is going all the way in there. You don't have to think about it. Resistance is simply a natural response to something that's not comfortable. You try to keep it at a distance. Have you ever kept something at a distance in there? Perhaps something someone said that hurt you in the past, maybe an awkward stage you went through when you were young, or even a terrible divorce. Of course you have, but that doesn't mean the event didn't happen. It wouldn't be in there if it hadn't already happened. You can't stop the event from having happened, but you don't have to let it all the way in. Excuse me. Mind is a big place. There's plenty of room between where the experience is first imagined, or where the experience is first imaged, in your mind, and where you actually fully experience it. You can use will to keep the mental image at a distance from you. This is a very primal act of resistance. So that just isn't an automatic thing happening then. Is that right?
Right. It's not. You're doing it on purpose, as
Right?
you are in control of your mind. And if you're not aware that you're in control of your mind, then it may seem like this is automatically happening, but really it's not. You are rearranging things in your mind at all times. So I have to go downstairs for just a minute. I'm going to let you read, and or if anyone wants to share um, for a few moments, that'd be great. But I will be right back, and you can keep reading if you want to. You have the book,
Okay.
right? You're reading from the
Yeah, I
book.
got the book. I got
Okay,
the
all
book.
right. Okay, good. All right.
Yeah,
You
and if anybody has anything to say, just interrupt me, but I'm often looking up to see if anybody's hands up. So whatever works for everybody. Now that you have resisted experiencing the rattlesnake and let the rest of the moment pass through, here comes a butterfly. It lands on you, which is such a beautiful experience that you naturally focus on it. When it starts to fly off, you don't want it to go away, so you use your will to hold on to the mental image. This is what Buddhists call clinging. You can't hold on to the butterfly itself because it flew away. So you try to hold on to the mental thought pattern of the butterfly. You push away what it was like to experience the rattlesnake. Excuse me, I don't know if a butterfly landing on me would push away the rattlesnake over there, but okay. You push away what it was like to experience the rattlesnake and you cling to what it was like to experience the butterfly. Oh, I get it. Neither of these mental patterns can finish their natural journey through the mind. Not only do you lose out on fully experiencing them to the depth of your being, you are also left with these mental patterns stuck in your mind. Neither rattlesnake nor butterfly remain before you, but they are left as patterns in the mind's energy field. Such is the power of like and dislike. Ooh, that like and dislike judgment. Look at that. Clinging, clinging, clinging. And resisting. Okay, both clinging and resisting. Keep the mental renderings in your mind. This is very important to understand. I'll read it again. Both clinging and resisting. Keep the mental renderings in your mind. Experiential mind was meant to be like a clear TV screen. It renders the image being sent to it. But now you've held on to images that are no longer being generated by the outside world. They got stuck in your mind as mental patterns. And as a result, you're out of harmony with reality. You were in there experiencing the gift of reality. Now you are also experiencing the patterns you held on to in your mind. These patterns in your mind are totally different from the patterns in other people's minds. Each person's trapped mental patterns are unique and very personal. They come from how we interacted with our past experiences. Since we've all had different past experiences and interacted with them differently, the impressions held in our minds are totally different. This is the birth of the personal mind. The problem is, reality is not personal. As you've already seen, we didn't create this world. We are simply experiencing the miracle of creation unfolding around us. Yet there are rattlesnakes and butterflies in the world, along with lots of other things. But now there are rattlesnakes and butterflies, capitalize these words, in your mind, even when they are not actually in front of you. Bum, bum, bum. Now that you've held these leftover mental impressions in your mind, reality has to compete with them for your attention. Your ability to fully focus on the outer world is going to be hindered by the constant distraction of these inner impressions. I'll stop there, and Rafi's got his hand up.
Yeah, I love it because the clinging and the resistance are merely feelings. They're just energy. Make a big deal out of them, and they become a big deal of it. Look at them as they really are, and they're very easy to come to welcome and release. And then you get clear again, and you're centered, and you're in a peaceful place that is reality. But the insidiousness of it is that ego ploy to keep us trapped in it so it can sustain itself. And this I love this paragraph. These words here, because they just remind me of all of that stuff. And I looked at all of that stuff and says, okay, well, resistance, welcome to resistance, let it go. The clinging is, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. Well, want is the source of all suffering. So can I let that feeling go? Yes, 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 yes. And then all of a sudden, hello, peace. Hello, quiet. Hello, love. Yeah, happiness itself. Thank you. Anyhow, this is just terrific. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you, Rafi. And yeah, the idea, the knowing that there's nothing personal about it, and that these are all the stories I've made up in my mind. So I don't have to define it or describe it or run away from it or run to it or anything. I just have to let it go, because this is, there's no rattlesnake in here. There's no butterfly in here, but they're in my mind, and that's where everything is being like warehoused there. And it's like uh if you've ever really lost something, or if it doesn't matter. um I think about, I used to think about the past and think about all the times, like when I was a child, my family would move like out of the blue in the middle of the night. My stepdad would come home and say, we got to go. And we would pack up whatever we could in the car and we would leave. And I had no idea why. I have no idea. But obviously he had done something or was somehow in some sort of trouble. And I mean, that I recognize as an adult, that's exactly what it was. But at the time, I had no idea why all of a sudden everything that I loved was gone, all my toys, my clothes, my house, my bed, everything. I'm now living in a car. Oh, we go find someplace else. And I used to think, oh man, if only I could go back in time, I would get that thing. I would bring this thing. I would have remembered to put this in the car. I would have this now. And that's exactly what we're talking about. These are the things that we've clung to, believing that they are important or have something to do with us. And I used to dream about, I used to go on eBay and look for the things that I had to leave behind because I wanted to to make my life whole. And that's just strictly silliness. And now I recognize I still have all those things. They're right here in my mind, never anywhere else. And I don't need to go find them or buy them or anything. I just have to just let them go because I already have them. Rafi, yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I had similar experiences going back in the past, but on the other side, times that I did something that wasn't in the best interest of somebody that I did it to. And then I started looking at all of those things and I thought, wait a minute, where is all that stuff? These are just pictures in my head. There's nothing else. That's all they are. They're just images in my mind. They're just thoughts. And then and putting them in their proper perspective, they just faded away. There was no attachment to them. There was no aversion to them. They're just thoughts. They're just pictures like any other thought, like any other. That's all thoughts are. I mean, we think in pictures. So if we cling on to pictures, we're clinging on to what are those pictures made of? They don't have any substance. And once I was able to do that, clear, and I still do. I mean, before I got on this morning, a bunch of thoughts came up, and I thought, well, yeah, but those are just thoughts, and they just faded away. And as long as I don't identify with them and give them any importance, they just go away because they're not real in the first place. We're talking about imagery here, imagery and sensations. Well, big deal. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Rafi. That was beautiful. And yeah, that's it. It's just images and sensations, and none of them are real. So, would anybody else like to read? I'd be happy if anybody else would like to pick up and read for a while. If not, Ozzy, would you want to continue reading?
Sure, I don't mind if nobody else wants to.
It's always good people have the experience. That's why I like to invite other people to read, but I don't call on people unless like I just call on you, but generally I don't.
Yeah, I don't call on people. I just did, but no,
Just call on
that's
you,
so cute. No, but I do enjoy reading, so I'm always up for it.
Good, thank you.
And my kids have all grown up now, so I don't even get to do story time anymore. But sometimes I tell my bird stories, so that's okay. All right. Shall we go? Chapter 13, Fall from the Garden. Resistance is the beginning of what can be considered the fall from the garden. Nice. What a nice way of putting that. That resistance is the fall from the garden, the beginning of that. You were just fine being aware of this awesome, ever-changing creation. It presented constant gifts of experiences for you to learn and grow from. take the gift of music. When you are deeply absorbed in music, there are no stray thoughts, only the music effortlessly coming in and feeding the depth of your being. You can be raised to the state of ecstasy while listening to music. When the mind is clear, everything comes in that way. You are either in a heavenly state experiencing what is pouring into you, or you are deeply absorbed in the inner stillness of your being. You have returned to the garden. Everything is effortlessly beautiful. Once you hold on to rattlesnakes and butterflies in your mind, you are unable to stay in that pure state of consciousness. These two mental patterns have become powerfully charged objects that draw your attention toward them. When the mind was clear, what attracted your consciousness was the rendering of the outside world as it passed through. This rendering was very entertaining and fulfilling. But since you had nothing going with it, it just came and went. In contrast, the powerfully charged objects you have held in your mind do not come and go. The world in front of you comes and goes, but these mental objects remain because you are holding them in your mind. Furthermore, since they are differentiated as more important than the rest, your consciousness becomes more distracted by these mental objects. Everything is no longer equal, and this creates a major problem. Well, it creates the only problem, because that's the problem. We think we're separate. So it's not equal, right? Next thing you know, you're walking down the road and there's a rope. But the rope no longer feels the same as it would have before you saw the rattlesnake. The rope reminds you of the rattlesnake. What does reminds you of mean? It's not a rattlesnake. It's a rope. Nonetheless, when the rope comes in, consciousness now has a choice. Pay full attention to the rope that came in, or be distracted by the negative rattlesnake image stuck in your mind. Like standing there, oh my God, I thought it was a rattlesnake. I can't believe it. I can't believe I thought it's a rattlesnake there. It's a rope, but I think it's a rattlesnake. And just going on and on about that feeling. And I can just imagine it. Oh dear, I'm imagining the rattlesnake, but it holds nothing. I just let it go. The mind will immediately join these two mental objects together as one, and you will get scared. Scared by a rope? Yes, terrified by a rope. Oh, good. A similar thing happens with the image of the butterfly stuck in your mind. After the butterfly flies away, you're still focusing on the image in your mind. You're still feeling good about it and trying to hold on to it, even though it is no longer part of your here and now reality. Then something new comes in from the outside, like a person walking by. Your mind may be rendering this new image perfectly, but your consciousness is not fully seeing it. Your consciousness is still distracted by the butterfly image that got left in your mind. It used to be that the moment in front of you was the experience you were having inside. Now you have a preference. You would rather experience the mental image of the butterfly than the reality in front of you. There has become a whole new world for consciousness to focus on. The world you built in your mind. That world does not match the reality of creation. That inner world is your own personal creation made out of the mental objects you didn't let pass through. That's what those images in your mind represent. Things that happened in the past that you willfully kept in your mind. As we shall see, these impressions are the initial seeds that eventually grew into the self-concept or personal self. To see this more clearly, let's once again look at the example of a flat screen TV. When it said flat screen TV, I just made me think of our TV up in Uranium City, Saskatchewan, the big, like it's like a cube, you know, a 3D big ass TV. I mean, it was so heavy you could not move that thing because it was all within one, like the back of it had all the electronics. So it says flat screen TV. That's funny. I ignored flat screen TV and was more interested in the image of the old school TV in my mind. I just did it, guys. That's good. I'm glad I noticed that. When the first plasma screens came out, they had after images. Yeah. Manufacturers warned that if you paused an image for too long, it would actually burn a shadow of the image into the plasma screen. When the show continued, the old image would still be there. Would you enjoy watching TV like that? You've finished the news, but when you turn on a movie, the after image of the newscaster is still superimposed on top of your movie. That's exactly what is happening with the butterfly and the rattlesnake. You can no longer clearly see what is going on in front of you because you have these other images on the screen of your mind. You've messed up your screen. You didn't mean to. Just it's like an etch a sketch. Etch sketch. I just got that image. I've messed up my screen with my etch a sketch where you draw the pictures and then shake it, and then it would go away. That's the image I just got. I'm just sharing what's coming up. You didn't mean to. It seemed innocent to push experiences aside when you didn't find them pleasant. Where do you think they went when you resisted them? They got stored as lasting impressions in your mind. Just like that after image. I remember when plasma TVs came out. I was just always paranoid of that. But yeah, you could see that little, I could tell that, even if you didn't pause it for long. So I'll keep going here. It is worth looking at the effect of these leftover images in slow motion. In the beginning, the miracle of creation took place. It created form that is coming in through your senses so you can experience it. Apparently, at some point, you didn't like certain vibrations, so you pushed them away when they rendered inside. That willful resistance caused them to stay in the mind. This is where personal comes from. We said earlier that nothing is really personal, but you have chosen to fill the sanctity of your mind with frozen images from your past. These impressions will stay in your mind and will pull your consciousness toward them. You now have a limited and biased view of reality that will distort all of your experiences for the rest of your life. That is the power of the personal mind. So far, we have only focused on the rattlesnake you resisted and the butterfly you clung to. Those alone are sufficient to distort your experience of reality. But be honest with yourself. How many of these charged impressions do you have? You've done this your entire life. Plus, these stored impressions build on each other. Now that you have a stored rattlesnake impression in there, you can easily get scared by the sound of a baby's rattle. In fact, if the discomfort is bad enough, you may choose not to be around babies. That's a personal preference. And this is where all personal preferences come from. Once you create preferences, They will dominate your entire experience of life. These impressions that stay stuck in the mind are called samskaras in yogic science. They are discussed in the ancient Upanishads text. How could people know about this thousands of years before Sigmund Freud discussed his theories on suppression? It is because they were meditators. They didn't need someone to teach them about this. They saw it going on in their own minds. If you are quietly centered on conscious awareness, you can see what is passing before you. You are the ultimate experiencer of your mind. You're just not paying attention. Instead of paying attention, you're getting so uptight about wanting butterflies and not wanting rattlesnakes that you're losing your centered awareness. When the world around you comes in and hits or activates your stored patterns, you can no longer observe reality objectively. Your consciousness gets drawn into the activated samskaras and everything becomes distorted. This is the foundation of the psyche, your personal self. What is the psyche? It's something you build inside of the mind that's about you. I'm the one who doesn't like rattlesnakes. I'm the one who likes butterflies. You just built a self-concept. Someone else doesn't have that. They have a psyche built around thunderstorms, dogs that bite, and kittens that snuggle. Everyone has had different experiences, and therefore everyone is building a different personal mind inside. No one is doing it purposely. It's reactive. It happens quite naturally because you're not ready to openly experience life. The highest state is to be comfortable learning and growing from life's experiences. But if you're not comfortable with some experiences, you use your will to resist them. That merely means you're not evolved enough in that area. There is a physical evolution and there is a spiritual evolution. They both involve adaptability in your environment, the former for your body and the latter for you in there, the soul. Okay, I got a question here because I was just thinking this part about building the self-concept and not experiencing reality. Sometimes when when my son comes over or something, and I'm not standing or sitting there completely listening to him. I find myself like walking around or maybe doing something, but I am listening to him. But it's sort of like this body has to move or do something to be able to even hear him better. But now I'm just wondering, well, am I avoiding standing there because it's uncomfortable? Do you,
I don't, you know what? We just were talking about this yesterday. It was something that we were reading about that walking around or moving around really helped you focus and because there's so much other stimulation going on that you really have to use your body, move your body around in order to be able to focus. And I do it. It makes sense to me to an extent. And so, yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing. It doesn't mean that you're not paying attention. It means that you are trying to pay attention and the distractions, you're dealing with the distractions by moving around. Does that make any sense? And so it's, sometimes I have to do that. Somebody will call me on the phone and, I can't just sit here and listen as they, spill all their stuff. I do have to kind of move around or do something, or just kind of, I don't know, address the distractions so they don't keep me from concentrating on the subject. I don't know. But did anybody else have any thoughts about that? Rafi, yes, please go ahead.
That distraction thing happens quite a lot. Let's say I'm on this and we're reading and and the words are really making an impression. The meanings of what's going on is making an impression, and my mind will jump to, you got to take care of those dishes in the sink. Why don't you get up and go and take care of that again? Why don't you go do this? And those distractions are really, it doesn't want to deal with the now, and it doesn't want to deal with stuff that fights what the ego has already installed as this is how things have to be in order for me to maintain this egoity and keep out of the now, because it doesn't know what the now is, and keeping past and future all the time. So I understand what you're saying, experiencing that. And every time it happens now, I just check it. Oh, there it goes again. It wants to be distracted. It wants to run and check this. It wants to go see if there's a thing over there. I got to see if, what, did I hang that up? And then I just stand back and watch it and let it dissolve and just stay now. I have the power to do that. And once I have that, and know I have the power to do that, then I exercise it and make sure that the distractions have no have no influence on me whatsoever. So I just thought I'd share that. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Rafi. And did that help in any way, Oddsy? I know.
Yeah, because, but you know what's interesting, when Rafi was saying that, I was like, wow, I now look back and I think, oh, I didn't realize I was having thoughts, but of course I'm having thoughts, but I think I move around so that those thoughts don't come in my head and distract me. I'm just It's very interesting because I don't hear the thoughts happening. I'm just doing actions, right? I'm like but like you're saying, that would be what it would be. The thoughts would be there, but then I don't see them. It's weird. Okay, but thank you. I appreciate the insight.
Thank you, everyone. This has been really, really beautiful. Believe it or not, this hour is up. It seems like this day is going a lot faster than I thought it would be. So we are going to go ahead and close out this YouTube. Okay. She says that she's trying to do other things.
That really went fast.